Okay, let's be real for a second. Have you ever felt that sting of regret when a coin you only put a tiny bit into just soars to the moon? Or, the opposite, that sinking feeling when you bet the farm on a sure thing and it just goes straight to zero. And does it ever feel like you're always out of cash right when the big opportunities pop up, while everyone else seems to have this endless supply of ammo? Well, if any of that sounds familiar, you're going to want to stick around for this. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something called the gambler's formula. We're going to dive into a secret equation that honestly has the power to completely change how you think about crypto risk, and maybe, just maybe, help you finally master it. You see, if you're still spending all your time agonizing over what coin to buy, you might be asking the wrong question entirely. For the real pros, the masters of this game, the most important question isn't what to buy, it's how much. And let's be honest, for most of us, picking that investment size feels like a total guess, right? It's a gut feeling in the dark. If that's you, you are absolutely not alone. But what if there was a better way? A more scientific, a more methodical way to figure this out? Well, there is, and its story is amazing. It doesn't start in some stuffy Wall Street boardroom. Nope. It starts in the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, with a secret formula used by actual geniuses, from the casino floor all the way to the top of the investing world. Picture this. The year is 1961. An MIT math professor named Edward Thorpe walks into a casino. He's got a bulky coat on, but hidden underneath is what might be the world's very first wearable computer. And it was programmed with this one secret formula to calculate the odds in blackjack and roulette. And the result? In a single weekend, he won his entire annual professor's salary. Just like that. And what's so cool is the history of this thing. This wasn't some random trick. The groundwork was actually laid in the 50s by Claude Shannon, the father of information theory. Then it was turned into a real formula by John Kelly Jr. at Bell Labs. That's what we call the Kelly criterion. Thorpe proved it worked in the real world, and today it's a tool that's reportedly used by legends like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. So, what is this magic formula? Seriously, don't let the letters scare you off. It's super simple. F is the answer we're looking for, the fraction of our money we should bet. B is just the odds. So, if you bet $1 and you win $1 back, B is 1. P is your probability of winning, and Q is your probability of losing. That's it. Simple as that. Let's make this crystal clear. Imagine you have a rigged coin. It lands on heads 60% of the time. So our P, our probability of winning, is 0.6. That means Q, the chance of tails, is 40%, or 0.4. The bet pays 1 to 1, so our B is just 1. Okay, so we plug those numbers in. 1 times 0.6 minus 0.4, all divided by 1. The answer, F, is 0.2. The formula says the perfect bet is 20% of your capital. But hold on a second. If you have a 60% edge, why not just go all in, right? Why not get rich quick? It seems totally logical, but it's exactly that kind of thinking that gets people into so much trouble. See, the real genius of this formula isn't just about winning one bet. The Kelly formula gives you 3 incredible guarantees. First, it is mathematically proven to be the fastest way to grow your wealth over the long haul. Second, because you're only ever betting a fraction, you can't go completely broke. You always live to fight another day. And third, it has built-in risk control. If the math spits out a negative number, it's basically screaming at you, do not make this bet. The odds are against you. And this chart just says it all. If you run a simulation, yeah, a super aggressive strategy of betting 50% might show a higher average outcome, but that's just skewed by a few incredibly lucky wins. The number that really matters is the median, what happens to the typical person. And in that case, the Kelly strategy is just untouchable. It gives the best outcome for most people with way, way less risk of going broke. So, this all sounds pretty foolproof, doesn't it? Like a secret key to printing money? But this is where you have to be really, really careful. Because if you blindly trust this formula, it can lead you straight into a hidden trap. So let's try a little crypto puzzle. You get a hot tip, a rumor that some new coin is going to get pumped 10,000x. It sounds insane, but hey, you've seen crazy things happen. You think about it, and you decide there's a pretty good, say, 10% chance this actually happens. So how much of your portfolio should you bet? Okay, so we run the numbers. B is 10,000, P is zero point 0.1, Q is 0.9. You plug it into the formula, and it spits out an answer of 9.99%. It's telling you to invest almost a tenth of your entire net worth in this one wild bet. Kinda tempting, right? But is it right? Just take a second. Does that feel right to you? Well, here's the reality check. The calculation itself wasn't wrong. The math was perfect. But our input, our assumed probability, was a total fantasy. That P of 10% was just wishful thinking. Think about it. If this coin has a current market cap of, say, $300 million, a 10,000x pump would mean its market cap would have to hit $3 trillion. That's bigger than Bitcoin was at its all-time high. So the real probability wasn't 10%. It was basically zero. Just let that number sink in for a second. $3 trillion for one little altcoin. When you actually lay it out like that, the initial 10% guess seems, well, it seems completely absurd, doesn't it? And here's the beautiful part. When you plug in a more realistic probability, let's be generous and say it's 1 in 100,000. The Kelly formula does its job perfectly. It gives you a negative number. The real answer wasn't to bet 10%. The real answer was, do not invest a single penny. Okay, so this brings us to the most important part of this whole thing. It's not really about the formula itself. It's about how you use the formula to actually win in the long run. So here are the two big lessons. Number one, the math is just a calculator. It never lies, but it's totally vulnerable to garbage in, garbage out. The formula is only as good as the numbers you feed it. And that leads to the second and honestly the most important lesson. The most critical skill in investing isn't finding hot tips. It's being brutally honest and scrutinizing your own assumptions about them. And look, this is really hard because we are all wired for optimism. It's human nature. When we find an investment we really like, when we want to believe in that 100x return, our brain just naturally inflates the probability of success. It's a cognitive bias we all have to fight against. So how do the pros deal with this? Many of them use something called a Kelly fraction. It's simple. They run the calculation, find that perfect optimal bet size, and then they cut it in half. Or sometimes they only invest a quarter of what the formula says. They deliberately underbet their own calculations. Why? To create a safety buffer against their own optimism and their own flawed predictions. Because at the end of the day, that's the real secret, isn't it? The goal isn't to hit one spectacular home run that sets you up for life. The goal is to manage your risk so you can stay at the table, so you survive the downturns, so you make damn sure you're still playing the game when the next great opportunity finally comes along. So I'll just leave you with this one question. The next time you're scrolling through Twitter or Telegram and you see that can't-miss guaranteed 100x coin, what's going to be your first thought? Are you going to ask about the tech, the team, the tokenomics, or are you going to stop, take a breath, and first ask yourself, what is the real probability here? Because the answer to that question, well, it just might change everything.